Have you ever thought that psychological vulnerability might be a mask to hide our flaws? Have you ever wondered how strength can be the courage to face oneself instead of dominating others? These deep questions were posed by the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. And today we will explore his unique vision of vulnerability and strength and how these ideas can change our lives. If you're ready for this intellectual journey, fasten your seatbelt because we're about to enter a world full of questions and answers that may seem shocking. Let's get started. Let's start by deconstructing the concept of vulnerability. When we hear the word weakness, we usually think of a lack of physical strength or ability. But Nietzsche takes us to a deeper level. For him, psychological vulnerability is more dangerous because it is connected to what we hide inside. It is the way we rationalize our failures and avoid facing the facts. For Nietzsche, psychological vulnerability is not just a feeling of helplessness, but a dangerous trap that leads us to wear masks that hide who we really are. This trap makes us make up stories to justify why we didn't succeed, why we didn't try, or why we couldn't. For example, someone who always pretends to be kind but never genuinely helps anyone, or someone who plays the role of a victim to attract attention and sympathy. These are just examples of how psychological vulnerability can be a hidden force that affects our lives. But why do we hide our vulnerability? The answer is simple: because we are afraid. We are afraid to face our flaws and shortcomings. We are afraid of appearing weak in the eyes of others. Here Nietzsche reveals a dangerous aspect of weakness. When we are afraid to face our weakness, we begin to lie not only to others but also to ourselves. We invent excuses and false narratives that rationalize our failures and make us feel that we are not responsible for our lives. Imagine this scenario. A person blames circumstances, society, or even bad luck for their failures. This isn't just a lie, it's a way to escape responsibility. But the lying doesn't stop there. Nietzsche explains that vulnerability can become contagious as we begin to influence those around us and pass on the same behavior. What's more dangerous is that this lying becomes a culture that justifies failure and puts the blame on others. This brings us to another important point: resentment. For Nietzsche, resentment is a feeling of bitterness that arises when we are unable to face our own shortcomings and start attacking the success of others and trying to minimize their achievements. But what is Nietzsche's solution to overcoming weakness and becoming strong? This question opens the door to Nietzsche's deep and distinctive insight into the concept of power. For him, true strength is not about dominating or dominating others, but about having the courage to face life in all its details, whether those details are filled with success or failure, joy or pain. A strong person, as Nietzsche sees it, is not someone without flaws or weaknesses, but someone who is brave enough to recognize these flaws and work to overcome them. For him, strength starts from within. Imagine someone who is dissatisfied with their job, but is afraid to change, perhaps because they think the risk is not in their favor, or because they are afraid of failure. The strong person in this scenario is the one who confronts these fears, leaves a comfortable job to take real steps to get out of this predicament. The power here lies not in the results, but in the action itself. The courage to make a decision and face the consequences. Even if the person fails in their endeavor, the mere act of trying is a victory of inner strength over weakness and fear. An important point Nietzsche makes is that true strength is not selfish. It is not a desire to crush others or to outshine them in a destructive way. On the contrary, true strength is the ability to inspire and uplift others. A strong person is one who is not afraid to set an example for others. Someone who shows people that challenges can be overcome and that obstacles are not the end of the road, but the beginning of new opportunities. Imagine a leader of a team at work facing a major crisis. A strong leader will not blame the team or show that they are fallible, but will acknowledge the issue, show a willingness to work with the team to solve it, and rally everyone to stand confidently and strongly in the face of the crisis. Nietzsche believed that a large part of strength lies in accepting reality as it is without trying to escape or deny it. A strong person sees life as it is, with all its contradictions and difficulties, and decides to face them instead of hiding behind excuses. For example, a person going through a painful emotional experience may choose to escape reality by wallowing in isolation or pretending that everything is fine. A strong person is one who faces the pain, acknowledges it, and then begins to work through it, whether through self-improvement or searching for new meaning in their life. For Nietzsche, true strength is not about accepting reality, but about creating opportunities out of challenges. A strong person is not one who waits for ideal conditions, but one who creates his own. Let's take an example from the life of Leonardo da Vinci, who was not only a genius artist, but also a person who was always striving to learn and improve. His strength was not only in his talent, but in his courage to walk new and difficult paths, and in his ability to transform his ideas into tangible creations that inspired the world. True strength is also seen in human relationships. A strong person is one who can build relationships based on mutual respect and trust. They are not afraid to confront conflicts or issues within the relationship and work to resolve them with courage and honesty. Imagine a strong friend who is not afraid to share your mistakes with love and respect, not to belittle you, but to help you grow. It is this kind of relationship that enriches our lives and makes them more honest and fulfilling. Nietzsche gives us a clear message. True power does not mean arrogance or boasting, nor does it mean dominating others. True strength is the courage to face oneself, to recognize the truth, and to work continuously for self-improvement. Are we able to accept our weaknesses and work to overcome them? Can we face life with courage and honesty? This is the challenge Nietzsche sets before us. One of philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche's most controversial ideas is his different view of compassion. We usually think of compassion as a virtue, a quality that reflects our empathy for the suffering of others and makes us seem more human and compassionate. But Nietzsche asks us to rethink this idea. For him, compassion is not always what it seems. On the contrary, he sees it as a hidden danger that negatively affects individuals and societies. Nietzsche believes that pity, instead of being a tool to empower people, often turns into a tool that entrenches weakness and hinders development. Consider this simple example. A person going through a financial crisis receives financial assistance from another person. This may seem noble and helpful at first, but it may carry a subtle message that says, "You are unable to face this crisis on your own." In this way, compassion becomes a temporary support that reinforces the feeling of helplessness. Nietzsche argues that this kind of pity leads to a state of dependency, where the person in need is always dependent on others instead of learning to stand on their own 2 feet and solve their own issues. In the end, pity weakens rather than strengthens a person. Not only does Nietzsche criticize compassion as a tool for entrenching weakness, but he argues that it can sometimes be used as a means to manipulate others. In some cases, people may play the role of victim to attract the sympathy and support of others, be it emotional or material. In this case, compassion becomes not a virtue, but a tool used by some to exploit the feelings of others, resulting in an unhealthy relationship between the two parties. But what about those who want to help others with sincere intentions? Here Nietzsche offers a very different concept of helping. True help, as he sees it, lies not in simply lending a helping hand or feeling compassion for others, but in empowering them. Nietzsche believes that the best way to help others is to push them to become stronger and more independent. Instead of saying to a person, "I will help you because you are weak," we should say, "You have the power to overcome this, and I am here to help you see that." For example, instead of giving someone who is struggling financially money directly, you can teach them how to manage their money or help them find a job. Instead of sympathizing with someone in emotional distress without doing anything, you can give them practical advice to help them get through the situation. Ultimately, Nietzsche offers a simple but profound solution: love life. For him, this means not only accepting life as it is, but celebrating it. Life is full of challenges, but it is also full of opportunities to grow and develop. A person who loves life is one who accepts their flaws and weaknesses as part of their journey instead of running away from them or hiding them. They face them with courage, and it is this love of life that helps us move from weakness to strength. Imagine someone like Nelson Mandela, who spent years in prison but came out stronger. This is the strength Nietzsche talks about, the strength that comes not from denying reality, but from facing it. In the end, we can draw an important lesson from Nietzsche's philosophy. Weakness is not a flaw in itself, but it becomes an issue when we choose to hide it rather than face it. Strength is not violence or domination, but the courage to face the truth and work for self-improvement. Now it's your turn. How do you see vulnerability and strength in your life? Do you think vulnerability can turn into strength if handled with courage? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. And don't forget, if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to receive more thought-provoking videos. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video as we explore more philosophical ideas that help us deal with life's difficulties with strength and determination.